So good afternoon all. So today probably we will conclude the first chapter. We have seen almost all the topics in the first chapter except the solution of state space, right? So let us see the solution of state space today. Right. So why should we find out solution of state space, or why should we solve for the solution of a state equation? I told you already, state space representation is consisting of two equations. First one is state equation and second one is output equation. State equation consisting of first order differential equations of state variables. First order differential equations of state variables. So here the idea is we have to solve those first order differential equations of the state variables, and we have to find out the state variables from that equations. Okay, it is nothing but solving simple differential equation. We will solve a differential equation and we will obtain the independent variable. So here in state variables, the independent variables are state variables. We have to solve and we have to find the state variables. Next, after obtaining the state variables by solving from the first equation, we have to substitute them in the output equation. We have to substitute them in the output equation. So why should we substitute in the output equation? We should substitute in the output equation for finding the system response or for observing the system response. Output is nothing but the response of the system of the given input, how the system is responding. So that is the idea. In the regular case, we will solve either the differential equation or the transfer function, and we will directly find out the output. But here we have to first solve for the state variable. That is the idea here. In the transfer function, if you see what is the transfer function, it is the ratio of output by input, output to input. Okay, if you keep the output on one side and if you send the input to the other side, then you will get the equation for output directly in the S domain. You have to solve it, you have to find out the output. That is in the transfer function. Whereas in the state space, it is one step more. It is one step more. Okay. Before directly observing the output, we observe, or instead of I can say like this, we observe the output, or we find the output through the state variables, through the state variables. So we will see that. So for obtaining or for solving the state space solution, there are two methods. One is Laplace domain approach, second one is time domain approach. Okay. So in Laplace domain approach, the idea is convert the state equation into Laplace domain and solve in the Laplace domain, and finally apply inverse Laplace transform and convert them back to the time domain. That is the first method. Second method is we will solve the differential equations or state equations directly in the time domain. Directly in the time domain. So which is second method is a bit difficult. Laplace domain approach is easy. Laplace domain approach is, we are going to see the both. Okay, I will give the complete solution for Laplace domain approach, and for time domain approach I will give you the final solution or final answer I will give you. For complete solution you have to refer any question. Just continue. So here it is. So why should we obtain a solution, or why should we obtain the response, or why should we obtain y-of-t? So all these things, all the process we are undergoing is for obtaining the y-of-t. So why? So you know all these things. Just I want to refresh these things from the basics of the control system. So why should we obtain solution? That is x of t. We have to substitute it in output equation, and we should obtain y-of-t. Why should we obtain y-of-t? By looking at the equation y-of-t, we can observe the two things. First one is it following the input or not? Second one is it converging or diverging? Or in other words, the famous terminology, the output is bounded or not bounded. If it is converging, it is bounded output. If it is not converging or diverging, it is not bounded output. Okay. So from first point, why the output should follow the input? That is the aim of the control system, or the basic definition of the control system. What is control system? So in which the particular output or response of the system, it should follow the input. It should follow the input. That is the aim of the control system. In the very beginning classes of the control system, it will be taught. Okay, so you might have known. So whether the output or response following the input or not, we can say by observing the output equation. Second one is, why should we know output is converging or not, or bounded or not? To comment on stability, all these things you know. If it is bounded, then system is stable. If it is not bounded, system is unstable. If the output is converging, system is stable. If it is diverging means going out of control, going towards the infinity. With respect to magnitude, we are speaking. These things are clear. That is right. So solution, obtaining the solution is, why should we obtain this? Yes, these things from the output equations. Again, the output is not a simple or single part single equation. It is again having two responses. One is transient response and another one is steady state response. Let me give you briefly what is transient response. Okay, I told you already output should follow input. Okay, but this process does not happen immediately. This process does not happen immediately. Output starts following the input after certain time. Okay. This time is mostly in the fraction of seconds, not even a second. For a good control system, this time is fraction of seconds. This time will be in the fraction of 0.8 seconds, 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds, like that it will be there. So this particular time period, whatever the response that is being exhibited by the system, is called transient response. Okay. From the output, we can identify the transient behavior of the system also. That is very important analysis in the control. Next one. By looking at the transient response, we can improve the transient response by designing suitable controller. Okay, by designing suitable controller. Suppose you know the parameters of the transient response, right? Rise time, peak overshoot, all these. If any parameter is not satisfactory, or if any parameter is not having the value that is required value, then immediately what we will do, we will design a suitable control. If the rise time is 0.8 seconds, but the customer or user requirement is 0.5 seconds only, then immediately what a control system engineer do, he will design a suitable controller so that he has to bring the rise time to 0.5 seconds. Okay. So to observe all these things, first we should know what is output. Without knowing output, we cannot design. So that is the importance of observing the output. Okay. Same as the case with steady state response. Similarly, steady state response also, by looking at the output, it is having two parts, transient part, steady state part. From the steady state part, what we can say? We can say that whether the system is exactly following input or not. Okay. Suppose if my input is unit step input, if my input is unit step input, what is meant by unit step input? What is the value of unit step input? 1. Its value is 1. It means my output should contain its final value as 1. Final value as 1. If it is not 1, if it is 0.9 or if it is 1.1, then we can say that there is a steady state error. There is a steady state error and suitable controller need to be designed according to that. So please ask your friends to join immediately. If anybody is there still, there are still joining. Okay. So these are the importances of the solution of why should we solve state equation, why should we obtain the output or response. By observing the response only, we can proceed with the actual control. Now let us see the first method, that is Laplace transform solution of state equations. It is very easy since we are dealing with the state equations directly. We are dealing with the solution of state equation. We are not at all concentrating on whether the system can be converted into transfer function or not. We should consider initial conditions here. Okay, most of you will do a mistake. Most of the students will ignore this term. Okay, that is the initial condition. You should ignore the initial condition only when you are dealing with the transfer function only. Otherwise, we should not ignore the initial conditions. If you are converting state space to transfer function, okay, you can ignore the initial conditions. But if you are obtaining the solution of state space equation, you should definitely consider the initial conditions. So please take care here. Where should you consider initial conditions or where should you neglect the initial conditions? So here we are solving the system in time domain. We are solving the system in state space, and we assume that there are initial conditions. There are initial conditions. If that is clear to you, rest of the thing is simple mathematics. Okay. So this is the state equation. This is the output equation. Apply the Laplace transform to state equation. This is the state equation. If you apply Laplace transform to state equation, you will get this equation. That is equal to s into x of s minus x of 0 is equal to a into x of s plus b into u of s. See, after this process is similar to converting a state space into transfer function, converting state space into transfer function. Except that there we won't consider initial conditions, but we have to consider initial conditions in the solution. So you know all these mathematics first. You have to separate it. You know why you get identity matrix. Since we are dealing with all the matrices, it is not simply S. We will get S into identity matrix. And this is the important step. pre-multiply both sides with si minus a whole inverse. If you pre-multiply with why should we pre-multiply? Here it is si minus a. If you pre-multiply with si minus a whole inverse, this term and this term will they will nullify each other. We remain with only x of s. That is our state. Okay. So after you obtain x of s, you have to substitute it in y of s. That is output. Substitute it in output equation to get y of s. To get y of s. And later you have to apply inverse Laplace transform. So we will see this through an example. So you should get an idea. So we are considering this example, state equation and output equation. You have to obtain solution for this. And you observe here that initial conditions are mentioned. You should take care with initial conditions. Okay. Generally, throughout the control systems, whenever you apply Laplace transform to the differential equations, you ignore the initial conditions. Why? Because throughout the control system, we deal with transfer functions. In case of transfer functions, no need to worry about initial conditions. But that one precaution you have to take here. Initial conditions. So solve the preceding equation and obtain output. Find the eigenvalues. Okay. I will tell what are eigenvalues later. First concentrate on part A of the problem. Part A of the So you read the problem and you follow the steps one by one. You take 2 minutes and observe the steps. Okay. So I told you already, from now onwards we will deal with this si minus a whole inverse. In almost all problems, in case of state transition matrix also, we will get si minus a whole inverse. So obtaining si minus a whole inverse is, it should be a practice tool. It should be a practice. You can, for any problem, first you need to obtain this. So you observe the solution for a minute, so that I will change the slide. So after obtaining si minus a whole inverse, next step is you have to substitute it in the state solution. This is the, what is the main equation? This is the main equation. In this main equation, you have to first calculate this. And this x of 0 is the initial conditions matrix given to you in the problem itself. U of s is the Laplace transform of input. Okay, U of t is input. Laplace transform of input is U of s. What is the input given here in this problem? In this problem, U of t is e power t. This is the input. That is the input. Okay. So this is the x of s. X0 of s. X0 initial conditions matrix. This is the initial conditions matrix. From U of t, we have to obtain. Is this clear to you? And if you have SMNSA whole inverse with you, you can easily solve this. We solve it, so you will get it. This is the matrix. Here it is mentioned separately, but it is the matrix x1, x2, x. Okay, it is nothing but state vector or state vector in Laplace domain. State vector in Laplace domain. These state vectors are supposed to be in time domain. Since we are dealing with Laplace domain, we got them in the Laplace domain. So substitute that x1, x2, x3 in output equation. What is output? Y of s is equal to matrix C into initial effect. That is x1, x2. So this is your output equation. After substituting, your output is like this. So this is your final solution. From here, you know the remaining task. Apply partial fraction. You will get this. Apply inverse Laplace transform. You will get this. Apply partial fractions. You will get this. Apply inverse Laplace transform. You will get this. You observe it. I think this is clear for everyone. So now what I told you, why we will calculate the final output for observing two things. First one is we should able to say whether output is following input or not. So what is input? E power minus t. This is the input. This is the output. So you should able to say whether output is following input or not. Second one is whether the output is converging or not, or bounded or not. If it is converging, the system is stable. Since all we are having negative exponentials, you see e power minus 3 to e power minus 2. So all are negative means they will, as time tends to infinity, they will vanish to 0. It means they are converging or they are bounded. System is stable. System is stable, or the response is stable for the given input. For the given input, the response is stable. So this is what I told you. Okay? From the output equation, you should be able to comment on stability, and you should be able to observe whether the output is following the input or not. That is about the solution of state space, not state space equation solution. So next, time domain solution. That is Laplace domain solution. I told you this is the time domain solution. Okay. As we obtained in the Laplace domain, we can also obtain the solution in time domain also. I am not giving you the complete solution. I am giving you the final answer. This is the state. We observe in Laplace domain. So your state solution x of s is this. In Laplace domain, x of s is this. Likewise, in time domain, solution is this. This is the solution. I am not giving you the complete solution. You have to refer the textbook. This is the final answer and solution. Here e power at is having its own significance, and this is called state transition matrix, and its symbol is phi of t. Okay? Phi of t is the e power a t. It is state transition matrix. Very, very important matrix throughout the state space analysis. We will definitely get a question. Now let us compare both the equations. So what is your observation from this equation, state equation, from the solution, both in Laplace or time domain? Both are consisting of two terms. Both are consisting of two terms. First term, second term. In first term, there is no input, that is u. In second term, there is no state or initial state, that is x of 0. In first term, there is no input. In second term, there is no state. So this is called zero input response, ZIR. This is called zero state response, ZSR. In first term, there is no input. In second term, there is no state. So it is called zero state response. It is called zero input response. The same is true for the Laplace solution also. That is also having two terms, zero input response and zero state response. Zero state response. In fact, if you ignore the input, or if you don't have any input on the system, then you won't get this term. Only you will get this term. This is also called homogeneous solution, or solution of homogeneous state equation. This is also called homogeneous solution or solution of homogeneous state equation. This is only for zero input system. There is no input applying on the system. Only thing is you get this complex convolution away. Okay? You won't get this complex convolution if there is no input acting on the system. Homogeneous solution. If there is input acting on the system, this complete term is the solution, that is called a non-homogeneous. See, all these things you should refer again from any textbook. You should not simply listen and leave. If you do that, you cannot get input. So it is consisting of two terms. Term without input is called zero input response. Term without initial conditions is called zero state response. And SI minus A whole inverse or e power at is called state transition matrix. Okay. Now let us compare both the equations. So the time domain equation and Laplace domain equation. Okay. This is called zero input response. This is called zero input response. This is called zero state response. This is in time domain. This is in Laplace domain. So this phi of t is called state transition matrix, or e power n is called state transition matrix. So how to obtain state transition matrix? Compare these two. Compare these two. This is in time domain. This is in Laplace domain. Okay. If you obtain inverse Laplace transform for this, your task is over. You will get phi of t. If you apply inverse Laplace transform for this, you will get phi of t. So phi of t is equal to our state transition matrix formula is Laplace inverse of SI minus A whole inverse. Laplace inverse of SI minus A. So now there is one more problem I am considering for obtaining state transition matrix through the Laplace domain I am. So how to obtain state transition matrix formula is SI minus A whole inverse Laplace. So same thing will be. So for the given state equation and initial equation, obtain the state transition matrix. So you observe the solution. So in almost all the problems, you should calculate SI minus A whole inverse. In fact, you should practice it. How to write SI minus A immediately after looking at the state space representation. After writing SI minus A, how to obtain inverse of that. That is adjoint matrix by determinant of the matrix. See the solution. You have to practice. You have to practice. Finally, this is the SI minus A whole inverse. You have to apply Laplace inverse for this. Then you will get state transition matrix. That's what then. That is phi of t is equal to your state transition matrix. Now this is your task. State transition matrix. You do one thing. You take any textbook or you refer internet. You have to answer these two for me. The significance or importance of the state transition matrix. First one, and second one is properties of state transition matrix. Okay. You will definitely get that. Especially properties of state transition. Very important. There are 5 or 6 properties are there. You can easily remember them. You can easily apply them. So go and refer any textbook and okay. So these are the tasks that I have given to you from the beginning of the first chapter. Obtain the steady state response for various electrical circuits. I have solved only one circuit in the class. I asked you to solve for many circuits. Next one is observable canonical form. I have solved through the principle of ERT. I asked you to solve using signal flow graph. Similarly, controllable canonical form, we have seen in the class it through the phase variable form, and you need to see this also through the signal flow graph. Next, I have given you what is parallel form, and I asked you to solve its sub case, that is a Jordan canonical form. And Jordan block. What is Jordan block? It is very important. All these things are there in the textbook. Normus nice textbook is there. You refer it. All these things are there. What is Jordan block? And today's task, state transition matrix, significance and properties. So this is your exercise or task regarding the first. And few additional, not additional topics, but these are not there in the syllabus, but we will see this in the extra class, okay, mostly Sunday or Monday. Okay. We will plan and I will inform you what CR. So first, you tell me how many of you interested to listen to these topics. If there are at least 20-30 students, then I can say, otherwise it is not. Mechanical systems, how to represent in state space, similarity transformations, okay. Decoupling of state equations through diagonalization. So I told you decoupling of state equations is a very important topic. Next, obtaining the state transition matrix in time domain. Okay. In Laplace domain, I have given you a task. Then can we obtain in time domain? Okay. Nothing but these topics will cover your entire first chapter from another perspective. So it is better to listen to these topics also. First, let me know how many of you are interested through your CR. If there are at least 20, more than 30 students, I can arrange for a special class by taking permission from HOD or class. So that's it. The first chapter is completed. So if any topic is to be repeated or if any topic is not understood, you can inform me through the CR. And regarding these additional tasks, okay, if more number of students show interest, I can take some additional. Okay, thank you. Madam.